Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third and final video. We're going to have a look at weather for the next 10 to 14 days. For today's final video, day 10 will take us to the 1st of October, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles, because they run around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at CFSB2 at the end of the video for October. And I shall get on that for you in a moment. We've got a couple of problems with this. I think it must be some sort of data outage in America with NOAA. So the GFS sits there, very late updating. We have got it partially. Whether I'll be able to show you before, I don't know. And no weeklies from the CFS may have not updated this one as well. As I say, I think there must be some sort of data outage that's gone on. And so, yeah, you know, I only bring you the data that's available, so we might be a little bit short on one or two of the regular features of this one. Just start off searching temperature. The CT is currently sitting at 15.7, which is about 2 degrees above average, and that's provisional to yesterday, to the 20th of September. That's going to come down a lot more next week, I think. Now, the tropical Atlantic is really livening up, so we've got lots and lots of disturbance areas. Let's deal with the yellow X's first of all. We've got one there and one just there. So that one is disturbance 2. 10% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days, now 50% chance in the next 5 days. And then that one is disturbance 3, with a 0% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days, a 20% chance in the next 5 days. We've also got this red X here, which is disturbance 1. That's got a 90% chance in the next 5 days, 7% in the next 2 days. The tropical wave is producing shower and thunderstorm activity a few hundred miles east of the southern Windward Islands. The system continues to show signs of organisation, and it will likely become a tropical depression within the next 2 or 3 days. The disturbance is forecast to move west-northwestwards across the southern Windward Islands by late today, and then move toward the central Caribbean Sea later this week. Interest in the Windward Islands should closely monitor the progress of this system, as heavy rainfall and gusty winds could affect these islands beginning later today. If we click on that and go here, we can see that it's quite likely that this is going to go in that direction. So this could be one more for like Caribbean, maybe Gulf of Mexico eventually, maybe Mexico itself, Southern America, you know, or Central America. So that's going to be one a little bit further southwards, I think. Keep an eye on. We've got Tropical Storm Gaston just here. Click on Gaston, you can see this is giving maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour with a minimum set pressure of 1,000 millibars, and moving northeast was at 16 miles per hour. So Gaston, not going to become a hurricane, it's going to be a tropical storm, and heading around in that direction. So that's one of those systems that looks like it's going nowhere fast as a tropical storm. And then we've got Hurricane Fiona, which is giving maximum sustained winds of 130 miles per hour now, with a minimum central pressure of 937 millibars, moving northwards at 8 miles per hour. Clicking on Fiona, going here, this major hurricane is going to continue as a major hurricane, glancing the Bermuda Islands just to the west, and there's still a major hurricane a long way north, like heading up towards the northeastern corner of America. That's a long way north to still be maintaining major hurricane status. It does very quickly go post-tropical as we get into the weekend, though. Gusts of wind with this, maximum up to 140 miles per hour. So currently Category 4 hurricane, and going to stay as a Category 4 hurricane, certainly up to Bermuda and beyond Bermuda, and then weakening as it gets off the northeastern coast of the United States and also Canada. So very significant developments in the tropical Atlantic. It was a very, very quiet start to this hurricane season, but it has come alive now, and we shall keep a very, very close eye on all the developments, of course, over the next few weeks. Coming back to home, these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. The next couple of weeks, the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Birmingham. About average at the moment. It could be a little bit above in the next 24 hours or so. But let's get to the weekend and early next week. It's going really quite cool, actually. Quite an extended run of below average temperatures there, setting up from like around the weekend, Friday into Saturday, and lasting right way to the beginning of October. So the last week of September looking cooler than average. This will bring the central temperature down further, and I think it's increasingly likely that CT will go under 15 degrees now. Go into the 14s. Precipitation-wise, there'll be a fair amount of dry weather for the next couple of days, but we'll have an active cold front pushing southeastwards Thursday into Friday, and that will bring some heavy rain with it. A little bit dry over the weekend, and then next week looking rather mixed with further rain at times. And with those cool temperatures, it really will be feeling very autumnal, I think, through that final week of September. Temperature anomalies on the 23rd, 29th of September are going to be a little bit below average, and the precipitation anomaly from the 23rd, 29th of September going to be drier than normal. The latest wind blow map from earthnullschool.net shows we're actually bringing in some warmer air today, and that will be the case tomorrow. So up comes those southwesterly winds, and that will bring some warmer air, up from off the coast of Portugal and whatnot. But we've got the cooler northwesterlies waiting in the wings. There's a cold front through there, and they'll be with us by the end of the week into the weekend. If we drag this around, we can see both Gaston and Fiona. So that's tropical storm Gaston just there. This is a major Category 4 Hurricane Fiona, and obviously you can see visually how much powerful Fiona is to Gaston just by the sheer weight of the velocity of the winds and whatnot. So really, Gaston is dwarfed by Fiona. Let's zoom in, have a look at Fiona. I always think these are absolutely amazing to see these charts where they're showing hurricanes. So look at that, you just see how powerful that hurricane is, can't you? Incredible feature. Right, so coming back to home, this is how the UK Met Euro run is looking for midnight on Saturday in a rather cool northerly northwesterly wind. Could bring some showers with it as well. Into the early part of next week, another area of low pressure will deep into the north of Scotland. That will bring another cold front southeastwards over weekend and over the start of next week. And then wind turns into the north Monday into Tuesday, starts pulling northerly winds, and it's cool, it's showery, it's unsettled through the early part of next week. So the first drop in temperature is going to come on Friday, Thursday to Friday, where the first cold front pushes through. So the weekend will be cool, but not desperately cold, just like average temperature probably. And then into the early part of next week, another cold front will bring a further drop in temperature, and that one introduces some very chilly air from the north. This is how Icon is looking again on Saturday. Really that sort of gentle north-northwest. It'll still be cool and showery over the weekend. And then down comes cold front on Sunday into Monday, pulling the wind into a northerly, and so the temperature will drop further through the early part of next week. Will be unsettled as well, with showers of longer spells of rain, and that's how we look as we get to midday on Wednesday this time next week. Rather cool and showery. Right, so moving on to the GFS midnight run. Again, we find that on Saturday we're in this cooler, sort of showery north-northwesterly wind, and it'll be a little bit chillier over the weekend, but not desperately cold. But it's only September. But as we go through it into Sunday, that's when we bring another cold front in from the northwest, and behind that you see the air is originating from quite a long way north. So this one does really drop the temperature as we go through the early part of next week with these northwesterly winds setting in. They will be unsettled as well, bringing heavy showers and longer spells of rain, particularly as this area of low pressure sort of sinks down the North Sea. So especially for eastern counties, will be quite wet. And it's just staying rather cool and showery, I think, through the remainder of next week. This gets us to Friday the 30th of September. So looking chilly and showery up to that point. By day 10 and beyond it, though, high pressure starts to reach back in from off the Atlantic. That turns things drier, but will be quite cold, I think, over that area of high pressure. That could well give some early season ground frost and probably some mist and fog patches as well. That high pressure then gradually slipping eastwards through the first week of October, pulling in something warmer from the south and from the southeast before it turns probably wet and windy again by the end of the GFS midnight run. Gets 7th of October. Major Atlantic storm system bringing properly wet and windy weather in across the country. Have a look at the temperature forecast based on that GFS run. Remember, it wasn't that many weeks ago we were looking at 40 degrees on these temperature profile forecast like a couple of months ago, wasn't it? Well, very different forecast temperatures for the next few days. We're starting off relatively warm though. Today, around 20 or 21. It's dependent on how much sunshine comes through though. Let's try and get temperature 21 if it stays cloudy. Tomorrow's relatively warm again, much of east, southern and east area, but notice the north and west already turning significantly cooler. As you get through to Friday, that's the first drop in temperature really. So most places by Friday dropping down into the teens Celsius, and we maintain those sort of temperatures into the weekend as well. These are sort of near normal type temperature to a little bit below, I suppose, a little bit below average in the south and southeast, like over 15, 16, 17. You'll probably expect this time of year around 18 or 19 in the south and southeast. So it's a bit below average, but not particularly cold. It is quite a lot colder further north. But then bring that second cold front through on Monday, and it's behind that one that we bring some very, very chilly air into the country as well. Notice single-digit temperatures through the central and northern half of the country, just up to the mid-teens in the south on Monday. And by Tuesday, look at these temperatures, notably cold. For Tuesday in the south, we're only up to around 13, 14. Further north, you know, sort of single-digit temperatures through northern England into Scotland. I think that's probably going to be a bit over the top. I shouldn't see it'll be quite that cold on Tuesday, but certainly a notably cool day is possible on Tuesday. Very cool still on Wednesday, but not quite as bad as Tuesday. Even so, we're struggling to get to mid-teens Celsius, and that's as far as we'll go because we're up a week out now. So, yeah, you know, it's going to be properly autumnal next week. We've been flirting with autumn since the middle of September. Of course, had a very hot start to the month, but been flirting with autumn since the middle of September. But next week, autumn proper is descending. Now, let's see how far we can get with the GFS 6 there. As I say, there has been a delay on this. So Friday will bring the first cold front southeastwards across the country. Over the weekend, cool and showery. And then into the early part of next week, another cold front pushes through with this area of low pressure, dropping down the North Sea. And that brings the wind into a proper northerly. Will be very cool, very chilly and showery. And that carries on into the middle of next week as well. Further unsettled weather before, by day 10, high pressure is starting to ridge in from off the Atlantic. That's a cool ridge though, so we'll produce some quite chilly nights and whatnot. Now, we can't go any further than that, so it's stalled again. So that's as far as we can get to. That's yesterday's GFS run. So as far as we can get to day 10 of GFS 6 there, when high pressure is ridging in from off the Atlantic. It's rather cool and showery in the east and the southeast still at that point. If you're enjoying the video, please can you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. We're very close now to 14,444 subscribers. I'm looking forward to getting to that milestone. So I think I'm going to put on around 10. 9 or 10 subscribers get to 14,444. I'll try and screen grab that if I can when we get to 14444. Please give us a sub. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. GM, again, has a wind in from the north on Saturday. Looks cool and showery. And then early part of next week, high pressure pulling out into the Atlantic. Another cold front drops southwards with this area of low pressure in the Norwegian Sea. That means very chilly and also unsettled weather to much of the country through the early part of next week. And it stays unsettled all the way up to day 10 with the GEM. ECM looking like that again. We're pulling in most cool northwesterly to northern winds over the weekend, a little bit showery too, and it turns even cooler, perhaps even colder for the early part of next week with northerly winds descending. Looks very unsettled and chilly. Stays unsettled and pretty cool really right the way up to day 10, which is the 1st of October on today's on today's ECM run, but the wet and windy weather there coming through on the 3rd day of October. So ECM not as keen to build up higher pressure by day 10 as like the GFS in particular is trying to do. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from TometoShow.com. Rain pushing southeastwards over the next day or two. Some of it will be quite heavy, especially so in the southeastern corner. Then we go drier for a while over the weekend for another cold front, brings plenty of wet weather for the early part of next week, and that's the one that drops the temperature, lowers the temperature. Notice just a little bit of green showing up there. You have to look very hard, but there is a few little green patches. That's the first snowfalls of the season over the Scottish mountains there in those showers. I may just say generally unsettled right the way up to day 10 with further wet and windy weather sweeping through the country there on the 1st of October. That would be a proper wet, windy start to October. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensemble today for day 10, which gets us to the 1st of October. 26 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure reaching in from the west and from the southwest, bringing more in way of dry weather, but quite cool with winds in from the north and from the northeast. And then 25 have low pressure right over top of the country. Very cool and showery with that. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. Gets us to the 6th of October. 13 members of the ECM ensemble just have a ridge sort of around the country, really. So that's going to be quite a lot drier. 8 with high pressure just to our east. That's going to be much drier and potentially a bit warmer as well as we drag the wind back up from the south. 8 again with low pressure over the country. Another 8 with high pressure just to our west and northwest. That's going to be drier but will be quite cool with winds in from the north and from the northeast. 7 with high pressure to the north of Scotland. Around that will come easterly winds, so going to be made dry but could be a bit on the cool side. And then 7 just here again with high pressure right in over top of the country, mostly dry back. So it looks like there's a movement towards higher pressure there through the first week of October, and the upshot of that will be important to the feel of the weather. Where that high pressure sits will make a big difference as to whether we have a warmer start to October or whether it's going to be a cool start to October. Finally, we can't show you the CFS weeklies. Web not updated today either, but we can show you the last CFS monthly forecast for October. So this is the latest 700 millibar high only forecast for October from the CFS with low pressure to the north, high pressure to west, and winds coming in from like a west-northwesterly direction. Could be a bit on the cool side, but going for slightly above average temperature. But I reckon the jet stream alignment could be northwest to southeast, so some cooler interludes possible, and no signal for precipitation there. We shall worry about October when we get to it, I think. Right, that's it. We're done. If you enjoy the video, please can you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. So, just so what's coming up tomorrow, and we'll start off with the 6 a.m. upload. We'll have the European outlook, detailed look at weather for next week, 10 days for Europe, and we'll have a 10 to 14 day or two. The live stream that I was supposed to do last night, but I wasn't able to do it, you know. Real life events intervened as they can do, and so I was unable to bring you that live stream discussing the third winter update last night. I am going to get it done for you tomorrow though. We will be live streaming tomorrow at 8 p.m. So finally we'll be able to check in, be able to see how we're all doing, and we'll be able to have a chat about the third winter 2022, 2021, 2022 update that we release on Sunday. It's very delayed, but hopefully I'll see you at 8 p.m. tomorrow for that live stream. And we'll share some long range with that as well, as along with the 12Z2. So, busy day coming up tomorrow. You enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And for this one though, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.